Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's video is going to be some products by Canadian brands that I really enjoy. This has been a requested video for quite some time and I, for whatever reason, just never did it. So that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. I think the item that I have probably mentioned the most over the years is the makeup remover by Marcelle. This is the current one that I am using, and no word of a lie, I have probably used over 40 or 50 bottles of this. I've been using it easily over 10 years, probably 15 years. It has definitely gone through different iterations of this bottle, but the product has remained the same and been consistently amazing. This is hands down the best makeup remover that I have ever used. I have used stuff that costs like 50 or 60 bucks. I've used stuff that costs like $5. This beats everything out. It beats out MAC, Lancome. I can't even think of all the brands that I've tried over the years, but every time that I've used them, I keep coming back to this because it just gets rid of everything. So this is a bi-phase makeup remover. The actual name of it is the Marcelle Gentle Makeup Remover for Sensitive Eyes. It is an oil-based remover, so this will take off waterproof makeup. It'll take off like hard to get lash glue, any sort of liquid eyeliner that's, you know, typically hard to remove. This will obliterate all of that. So this is one of those ones that, you know, you've got the oil and the other component in there, so you do shake it up. You get this kind of like milky textured liquid, and then you just put it on a cotton round, or at least that's what I do, and use it to remove your eye makeup. In particular for me, I do use an oil cleanser to get the rest of my face makeup off, but I have in previous times used this to take everything off, and it's unbelievable. And every person that I have recommended this to has come back to me and said, yeah, you're absolutely right. This is the best stuff ever. It does go for, I would say, is it like $15.99 or 20 bucks at Shoppers Drug Mart? One of those. I do tend to buy them either when they're on sale, and I buy them in bulk, or I'll get them when there's like a 33% extra product. Like sometimes I'll bump up the packaging size and have it at regular price, but there's more product in there. This is something that I have on hand at all times. I've got like 3 more bottles, I think, sitting in my cupboard where all my backup stuff is, and I will never be without this stuff. And I'm so glad that it's still around too, because this is one of those products that if they discontinued it, I would be so heartbroken. So yeah, the Marcelle Gentle Makeup Remover for Sensitive Eyes is hands down the best remover, bar none. And I'm so happy that it's a Canadian product too. Okay, another brand that is only available at Shoppers Drug Mart in Canada is the brand QUO. And they've been around quite a long time. I remember them from years and years ago, but I didn't really start using them until I started blogging more, and I was introduced to a lot of the products by the PR firm who were sending me stuff. And I've got quite a few favorites from them. The number one thing that I enjoy by them, is it the number one thing? Well, it's in the top anyway. The Waterless Brush Cleanser. This thing is almost empty, and as soon as it's empty, I'm buying another one. This is one of those rapid dry formulas. You spray it on your brush, you just swirl the brush in like a paper towel to remove all the eyeshadow from the brush, and it dries down within, I would say, 30 seconds to a minute, and your brush is ready to use again. So I imagine there's a lot of alcohol in this in order to dry down the brush quickly, but this is so good for someone who, like me, can be very lazy about cleaning my eyeshadow brushes, and then when I go to put eyeshadow on, I realize I don't have any clean brushes. I can use this to clean off that brush and be able to use that brush pretty quickly thereafter, and it's something I didn't know I needed in my life until I was sent it by the PR firm, and I was like, this stuff is incredible. So yeah, the Waterless Brush Cleanser is a must-have for me, frankly. QUO did a bit of a rebranding within like the last year, and they also launched or relaunched a lot of their brushes. And there's quite a few that I do use regularly in my routine, but there's one that is the best that I have ever used for foundation in terms of brushes. This is the, oh no, where's the name of it? There we go, HD Foundation Brush. This looks rather small to be using on the face, frankly, for foundation. So I was a little bit skeptical when I first pulled it out to use it. Particularly not only for the size, but also because I'm not good at putting foundation on with a brush. Like, I usually end up with streak marks on my face, and it just, I don't know, I'm just not good at it. So that's why I've usually defaulted to using a beauty blender to apply my foundation, just because it tends to be faster and it's just a little bit more seamless. Well, this brush is probably the only brush that I can successfully put my foundation on with without leaving streak marks. I don't know what it is. Is it the shape of this thing? Is it the texture of the bristles? I have no freaking clue, but this is awesome at putting foundation on. If I've forgotten my beauty blender, or I've forgotten to wet it, or I just don't want to deal with a beauty blender, I can grab for this and I know that my foundation is going to look absolutely perfect. So I was super impressed with this brush when I really just thought it was not going to work out for me. So I highly recommend this one. And then the other thing that I really love by QUO is this highlighting palette. Now this format came out for the holidays, I think it was 2 years ago, but they have repackaged it and it is available in their current collection. At the time it was a limited edition launch, but then they, you know, pulled it back out and resold it as a permanent product. So what I love about this palette is that it's honestly quite unique for a drugstore brand. It doesn't just have your typical champagne colors in here. You're also getting this like beautiful blue lilac iridescent color. This one is like a gorgeous white gold. This one, this one blows me away. It's hard to see on camera, but it's kind of like a peachy pink shifting color. It's something you'd expect to see by a brand like by MAC. I can think of like some of their highlighters are like kind of this kind of tone. And then you've also got more of a, I don't even know how to describe this. It's like a lavender with a yellow edge. Like it's so unique. And then you get two ones that I would say are a little bit more typical and would definitely work better on deeper skin tones, although I can get away with wearing these. I found this palette just to be such a breath of fresh air for the drugstore, especially for Canadian branded drugstore products. I feel like a lot of the times brands can stay very safe and very neutral overall. They don't tend to go off the rails like let's say NYX will, you know, for a reasonable price tag. So when I got this, tried it out and realized how much I loved it, I was so like, yes, good on you, QUO, for doing something that's a little bit more unique. And I was so happy that they came out with it as a permanent product, because this is something that I think most people should have in their collection because it's so good. Okay, let's talk about hand soap for a second. I realize it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I am in love with Live Clean hand soaps, okay? Like, I have a problem. I have probably more than 20 bottles sitting under my bathroom sink right now, ready and waiting to be used next. I have one in my guest bathroom, one in my personal ensuite bathroom, and one in the kitchen. So like, I love Live Clean hand soaps. And the ones that I've really fallen in love with have been their foaming hand washes. These ones are from their holiday collection, which unfortunately I think is completely sold out because people go bananas for these things. I don't love the size of the bottle, frankly. I feel like it's a little bit cumbersome, but the product inside is just fantastic. The holiday scents are incredible. So this one is Frosted Apple, and my husband, when he first used this, he's like, that one is really good. And I have to agree, I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I do, but I have really liked the Frosted Apple one. The one that I was the most excited for to come out again this year, because it came out originally last year, was the Fresh Snow one. It's so good smelling. It's just clean, crisp, airy. It's really wonderful. So I have a lot of bottles of this one as backup, and I have quite a chunk of the Frosted Apple as well. So these ones are phenomenal, and I'm bringing them up because they're kind of current, but they have other scents that are really good too. Like there's a lemon one, is it lemon mint? I can't remember. And then there's a cherry type one as well that I absolutely love it. So yeah, I do really like the Live Clean hand soaps, and they are a Canadian brand, so I wanted to bring these up because I know I'm not the only person who's nuts for these things. Like when I mentioned these on Instagram stories, people are like, oh, thank you for telling me that they're out right now. And people go nuts and buy them at Walmart or well.ca and snap up as many as they can, which is why they're currently sold out. A brand that I feel like has kind of disappeared lately, they're still launching products, but they're not getting nearly as much hype as they used to a few years ago, is Suva Beauty. I have used quite a few of their eyeshadow palettes over the years, and I really like their hydro liners as well, but the product that I want to mention in particular that I'm just totally in love with is their Saffron palette. This is wonderful. This palette came out a few years ago. I really hope it wasn't limited edition. Like, I hope you can still buy this because I'm about to rave about it. The Saffron palette is right up my alley. It's a whole bunch of like red tones with some golds and purples thrown in here as well. It's one of those palettes that I knew I was going to like, but then when I got my hands on it, I didn't realize how much I was going to like it. I'm just so enamored with the colors in here. Like the reds are beautiful and can be used really like opaquely and bright, or they can be like blended out to be a little bit of a softer color. Like this one over here called Cinnamon, it's not something that I would ever look at and think of as like a transition color, right? Like that's pretty dark. I can blend that thing out and make it like the perfect transition color in the crease, which honestly surprised me. And then even some of the shades in here that would not be something that would necessarily like really intrigue me right off the bat turned out to be wonderful freaking shades. So this one down here called Star Anise, I have mentioned before that there is not really a brown, shimmery brown eyeshadow out there that really gets me excited. Well, I'm gonna have to eat my words now because this one actually truly excites me. I put this on the lid and it's just gorgeous. And I don't know if it's the fact that I'm mixing it with like the reds that really make it, you know, something to be excited about, but it's just beautiful. And honestly, I look at it in the pan and I'm like, yeah, you're boring. But I know that every time that I've used it, I've been so in love with it. The shade up here called Coriander, again, another kind of just rather innocuous shade. It doesn't look like much. It looks like a brow bone highlight shade, but this one actually does have shimmer in it and it's beautiful. It's just freaking gorgeous. And the other shades in here are just really help to round out the palette. Like it's nice having a dark brown. Some palettes just really don't seem to ever put in a truly deep color, so it's nice to have that one in here. And honestly, I just love it. It's just such a wonderful palette. And Suva Beauty continues to put out palettes that I've been intrigued with, but nothing has really like drawn my attention as much as this one. So Suva Beauty, for anybody not familiar, is a Canadian brand. They're indie and out of, I think it's BC. I don't know if it's exactly Vancouver, but yeah, so Canadian brand that I truly adore this particular palette from, but they do have other good products that I really enjoy as well. Okay, probably the brand that everybody tends to mention when they're talking about Canadian beauty, aside from MAC, because I feel like everybody's like, oh, Canadian beauty, MAC. But MAC was bought out by Estee Lauder years ago, and honestly, I just feel like every time somebody talks about Canadian beauty and they mention MAC, I'm like, okay, but like, come up with different things. Anyway, the other brand that I feel like people really talk about is Bite, and I am absolutely no different in that respect. Bite is a brand that is Canadian and produces the best lip products on the market, frankly. It's kind of unfortunate. Their bullet lipsticks have been relaunched a few times, and they must be in a holding pattern right now because they had intended to relaunch them, I think, this year, but like with everybody wearing masks, like what are you gonna do? Launch a lipstick collection? Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So the bullet lipsticks that I have are from years gone by, and honestly, they're just wonderful. So the shades I have here are some of my absolute favorites. This one called Fig, I can't tell you the number of tubes that I have gone through of this. Like this might be my third tube, I think. I've gone through a lot of them because it's this kind of perfect pink shade. I think it was Makeup by Tiffany D that originally turned me on to this particular color. And honestly, it's not a shade that I like when I look at it in the tube. I'm usually looking for something that's a little bit more bright or bold or something that's just really eye-catching. But this pink shade is glorious. Putting it on just looks, I don't know, it looks flawless with every look. Like I can wear it with really bright eyeshadow looks and it somehow just really works. So Fig is wonderful, but this next one is what I mean when I say when I'm really drawn towards like bright lipstick colors. This is Saffron Fire, and this looks like fire on the lips. It is so freaking stunning. It's a bright orange with some depth to it. It just stole my heart, frankly. And I also like the scent on these too. Like they've got kind of like a lemony scent to them. They're really good smelling. So Saffron Fire is another favorite. And then one that I wear a lot just because it tends to be quite flattering all the time is Bite of Atlanta. And it's just this kind of, you know, peachy, kind of My Lips But Better kind of color, but just tinted a little bit more peach, and this one is stunning. This was from the road trip collection and I love it. The one collection that they do have out right now in terms of lip products is their Power Move Creamy Matte Lip Crayons, which I did post an entire Swatch Fest video of a few months ago now. And I love these, but I don't love them as much as the Bullet lipsticks, but because you can only really get your hands on these now and not the Bullet lipsticks, I did want to mention them. So the two colors I pulled out are Stinger, which is another bright one that I really enjoy wearing. You can see just how gorgeous that color is there. These wear, I would say, almost identical to the Bullet lipsticks. I don't really understand why they have two ranges of lipsticks when I feel like the performance is nearly identical, but maybe some people just prefer more of like a long stick format. And the other shade I have here, I've had it in different versions of their stick format before, and it just works with everything. It's called Leche, and it's one of those, I'd say it's a little bit more of a mauvey cool tone nude on me. It looks totally bland in the packaging, but it does really go with quite a few eyeshadow looks, so I had to mention these because they are really good too. All right, the very last few products I wanted to talk about are by a bath bomb creator. She's an independent creator close to Ottawa, and I discovered her through my friend Jane, who runs the blog Cosmetic Proof, and I love this woman's stuff. So she makes almost exclusively bath bombs. There are some soaps and stuff like that, and if you're listening to me speak right now, you probably already are familiar with her because I won't shut up about her on Instagram or my last few videos. But her bath bombs are just unreal. They are just absolutely unreal. So I pulled out a few that I haven't used yet because I just want to show you how stinking cute these things are because the detail is just incredible. So this one is the You're the Bomb Bath Bomb. And this is like one of her more regular size bath bombs, but it's got like this little bit of frosting up top. This thing is actually a little soap, which will last for quite a while actually. And it's just the sweetest little thing. Like the amount of detail that goes into her products is unreal. This other one I pulled out here is the Reindeer Bath Bomb. And I mean, just looking at it, you can see how sweet this thing is. It's just the cutest little reindeer. And I'm so taken with how intricate her work is. Like, I can't get this kind of thing from Lush or from any other like mass-produced product company really. So the reindeer one is cute, and the other one I brought out is the, what are you called? A Very Merry Cranberry Bath Truffle. So looking at this thing, I'm doing like the old school like YouTube, trying to make it focus on this thing, and I have to wait for the light to dim too, which is irritating. There we go. So this is like a bath truffle. It looks like a piece of cake with some icing dripping down it. And I mean, I have probably over 15 of her bath bombs right now, and I feel like I'm using them like twice a week right now. I've never taken this many baths in my life, frankly, on such a consistent basis, but I'm so excited to take them because I get to use these fun products by her. Because she's an independent creator, I will say that her products are not always available. They tend to be available when there's like a new launch, but they sell out so quickly, so you need to be like prepared to get her stuff. So I follow her on Instagram, and that's when I get the notifications on when she's putting out new stuff. Her holiday collection is literally all gone. I think it went on sale on November 15th, and it was gone within a few days. I think her next launch is going to be around Valentine's Day, and I will probably be picking up plenty of things during that time. Okay, so that is gonna be it for this video. Those are a few products by some Canadian brands that I truly enjoy. I hope that gave you like some more, I don't know, insight into the Canadian market, I guess. Like if you're ever in Canada. Not right now because of COVID, but if you're ever in Canada and looking for things to pick up, I do really recommend these products. So thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this was interesting for you, and I will see you next time. Bye.